Sean.
Mike?
What is this? A crossover episode? Yowza, yowza, bobowza. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We did the second episode of Season 3. Aren't you proud of us? Here it is. Well, we haven't done it yet, but we're doing it right now. I'm Mike. That guy wooing is Sean. We are the Squid Boys, yeah. Gone Boo for life, and this
Gone
is...
Boo for life, dude.
What is this, a crossover episode? The Bojack Horseman podcast. We are covering episode 2 of Season 3, titled The Bojack Horseman Show.
Sorry. I just had this idea because you said that, you know how people will put in their like Twitter profiles, they'll put like the heart emoji and then they'll tag like their significant other?
Yeah.
What if I went into my Twitter and I was like, Gone Boo for life, and I...
And you tagged me?
Yeah.
And then I don't do it on mine?
Yeah.
Okay,
and everybody
yeah.
looks at it and they're like, what the fuck?
They're like, wow, this is... Tara's like, what does this mean? I go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then when I'm with you, I'm like, yo, Gone Boo for life, smoochy.
I don't know why I had that thought, but when you were like, Gone Boo for life, I was like, I don't know. I was like, that'd be funny.
Maybe by the time this episode comes out, we'll know if there's when the second season of Squid Game is happening, you know? Or we'll be balls deep in the reality show wishing we were dead.
I mean... Presumably, by the time we finish this, we're going to have to roll into the reality show.
Yeah.
And we'll have to also, before that, avoid finding out who won.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's... Anyway, this is a weird conversation to have in this, this podcast. So, the Bojack Horseman show, like I said, Season 3, Episode 2, got an 8.0 on IMDb. Mm-hmm. It's 2007, and Princess Carolyn works tirelessly to get Bojack to stop basking in the light of the glory days and start working again. Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter meet, and Todd kisses a girl. And he liked it, question mark? I added that last part.
I gotta immediately... Can we just... All right. I know we have a lot of bits to do, but when we get to the discussion, can we just start with the Todd thing? Because I need to talk about the Todd thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, the Todd thing is very important, actually. Which is probably the only time I'll ever say that. But before we get into that, this episode aired on July 22nd, 2016. So we need to talk about. We're gonna not bury the lead here. A man shoots and kills 9 people at the Olympia shopping mall in Munich, Germany, and then kills himself. Horrible.
Yep. Horrible thing to have happened.
Hillary Clinton announces Virginia Senator Tim Kaine as her vice presidential running mate.
God.
She looks like an absolute skeleton in the picture that they have posted here.
What happened to Tim Kaine, dude? We're going to find out by the end of the season.
We might. Tim Kaine might be referenced. You never know.
I doubt it.
Japan's Funai Electric announced they will manufacture the world's last video cassette this month. Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
End of an era. Thomas Sutherland, American hostage, Lebanon, and academic, dies at 85. We have determined he didn't die as a hostage. For some reason, they could have just said, hey, this guy was an academic. I don't know why they,
but he was a hostage.
You get to become a hostage one time, and that's all everybody remembers, you know?
You get taken hostage once.
Just one time. It's not like he was
It's crazy, too, because you said he was how old?
He was it was 40 years before he died or something.
Yeah, but getting taken hostage only one time in 82 years of life is like...
85,
yeah. Like, that's even better, you know?
Right.
Like, I don't...
Right, and that's all that, you know... I shit my pants once in, the 4th grade, and then when I die, they're not going to go, Michael Beatty, pants shitter, you know?
That was way later than I thought you were going to say.
Well, okay, if I say, I shit my pants when I was a baby, obviously, everybody shits their pants when they're a baby.
Yeah,
you know? 4th grade, that's a little out of ordinary, you know?
Yeah.
It's like being kidnapped.
Those are not equal.
Ursula Franklin, German-born Canadian physicist, educator, and activist. She developed archaeometry. I don't know how to say that. Dies at 94.
We figured out what that was last time, but I can't remember it.
I don't remember. We'll
figure it out again in
we'll
like 6
have a big
episodes.
enough gap in between recording episodes that we'll completely forget all this and then have to be what does that mean?
Yeah, and then we'll come back to that. Like we don't need to look it up every episode,
Right. And then the number one song in the UK and the US was One Dance, Drake featuring WizKid and Kyla. Don't know what that song sounds like, but that's okay.
Yeah, me neither.
Another one of our famous bits is that we check in with Edvis 1997, who's reviewed every episode of Bojack Horseman, and they give this one 7 out of 10. The subject line is 7, so they match their stars again, which they've been known not to. And they said, "Why are we watching the past? I didn't catch any jokes really funny, which is really disappointing."
I thought there were some funny jokes in here.
I gotta disagree with Edvis. I think there's some pretty funny 2007 jokes in here.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into the episode. Sean, you really want to talk about Todd, so let's talk about Todd.
Yeah. The whole time I was watching this episode, I was like, okay, what is like? There's some funny jokes in the Todd stuff, but I was like, what's the purpose of this? Like, we had a purpose for the other plots happening. Like, we were learning things about characters, and throughout the whole Todd thing, I was like, okay, either this is the lead up to the dumbest bit imaginable, or there's gonna be some terrible, horrifying, shocking thing that'll happen at the last second to Todd.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you're wrong on both accounts. Actually,
no, it is all leading up to a bit.
No. I mean, yes, but there's more. Like,
I'm sure we're gonna. Yeah,
they didn't just show us that to go, hey, funny Sopranos joke. Like,
okay.
You're gonna learn more about Todd pretty quick here.
Okay.
And the scene's important, I think, and it's actually one of the what they do with Todd here is actually very. It's a kind of like handled with care and seriousness, which is like, not something that you would expect from Todd. So you're gonna see. I don't want to spoil anything, but you're gonna.
I didn't really get anything out of Todd from this episode except for the Sopranos bit.
Yeah, there's the Sopranos bit, which if you don't, if you're,
which I thought was, I don't know that I've laughed harder because, like,
explain the Sopranos lore to people that don't know.
So the final episode of The Sopranos infamously ends with a very, I won't like say the full context in case people want like to go see it for themselves, but like very infamously ends with a sudden cut to black without really having much resolution. And it made people very upset when it happened. So the bit of the episode being that this girl's dad was the editor for The Sopranos. And as soon as she held up, use this, and it was the film reel for the final episode. I immediately knew what the joke was going to be, and I paused the episode, and I just started to cackle. Yeah. Like, full on, I died. And, the joke is he's rappelling down, and he tears off the little end of the reel, and it's like, that's why it cuts to black, because Todd tore off the ending.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, I guess we don't need to reference this part anymore other than I'll just go over it right now. So we meet Todd. He has like a nice little emo over haircut in 2007, because this whole episode's based in 2007.
Yep.
And we meet Emily, who was kind of his like first person he kissed, and you can tell she's really into Todd, but he's just oblivious to it, as Todd would be. They end up in a 7 minutes in heaven situation where they kiss at one point. And Todd's never kissed anybody before. And then the scene you're talking about, they've been dating for a couple months, and she wants to have sex, and then her dad gets home, and she mentioned earlier in the episode that her dad was like a Sopranos guy, but what she actually meant is that he edits the show. Right? And that's basically Todd's story. There was one joke that I want to reference early on. He's like they're gonna go to a flash mob, which is another one of like the 2007 like references, and he goes, "I love flash mobs," and she goes, "I love you, Ubisoft's game Assassin's Creed." She's like, that's so fucking funny.
Me too. I also love Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed.
I love Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
Assassin's Creed 1, good concepts, didn't really nail the landing on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of repetitive.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
but
anyway,
hey, it laid the groundwork for what would eventually become what it is today.
Yeah, I don't know. When 2 and the trilogy of Assassin's Creed 2 came out, I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And then it's just slowly become something I don't care about. Like, in my head, I was like, yo, I'm going to get an Assassin's Creed tattoo on my finger where they cut off their finger. I was like in on Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2. And then 3 came out and I was like, eh. And then Black Flag came out and I was like, this is good, but it's not Assassin's Creed. And then it's just spiraled from there. Anyway, join us next week for our Assassin's Creed podcast.
Yeah.
Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Somebody's got to have that as a podcast title, right?
That's got to be the name, right? Of an Assassin's Creed podcast. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.
Permitted podcast. I don't see.
Like, here's the thing. I don't want to do an Assassin's Creed podcast, but that is such a good name for an Assassin's Creed podcast. I'm like, do I want to do an Assassin's Creed podcast?
I mean, look. Here's what I know. I know that good friend of the show, Tyler Rapes.
Yeah, I've made it my goal in life to never do a podcast with Tyler.
But I know that good friend of the show, Tyler Rims, has been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think, since it came out.
Yeah, that game's so long. They're also that's the thing. It'd be like really cool.
Done with it still.
The podcast would be really cool up until like Assassin's Creed 5. Right?
Yeah.
Because it'd be like, okay, one's interesting, the two trilogy's fun.
5?
3 is bad enough that you can like talk about it. 4 is Black Flag, which everybody loves. And then 5, I don't even remember what 5 is. If it's Syndicate or what, I don't remember. But then like the games just start to become so samey. And then they hit Odyssey or whatever the one is before Odyssey, the Egyptian one.
Origins.
And they become like these 100-hour games. Like they're still like somehow what's the Viking one that came out?
Valhalla.
Somehow the devs are still working on Valhalla while people are playing it. Like they're adding things as people are playing it to like finish it. So anyway, enough about Assassin's Creed.
To finish the context of this joke, I need to read these messages from Tyler. Just
okay.
Last week at noon, he said, "I'm a few missions away from beating Odyssey," and then 2 hours later, he goes, "All right, that's enough Odyssey for the year."
Yeah, dude. Those games are just way too dense.
That's enough Odyssey for the year. But yeah,
Ubisoft is like the worst video game company.
Tune in for Nothing is True, Everything is Permitted.
Yeah.
Our new Assassin's Creed podcast.
I mean, that's like a good April Fool's joke. We released the episode of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that much work. Anyway, the Bojack Horseman episode that we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah.
Opens up with Princess Carolyn and Bojack in bed. And they're talking about like, oh, this can never happen again, or like they're talking about how it's just a one night stand thing, and you're like, wait a minute, what? And then they go, it's 2007 on the radio, and you go, this is 2007, and she's like, this is like a one-time thing, right? And he's like, yeah, one-time thing for sure. Like, with the context that we know, they've had like an awful relationship for the last 7 years or however long it's been.
Hey, I gotta ask though about their one night stand. He mentions doing something with his dick, like a talking dick thing.
Oh yeah.
What do you think that was? What's the talking dick thing?
I don't know, Sean. I've never.
I need you to answer the question,
with such a thing.
I need you to.
I don't know. I really don't know.
The vibe of this podcast is that you have to answer the question.
I'm guessing he probably did like a call and response kind of thing, but he would do a different voice for his dick. That's my guess. I don't know what you want from me.
Okay, you can move on.
All right, thank you. So we get the intro, and then we cut to Princess Carolyn, who was leaving Bojack's, and she's in her car, and she's listening to 2007 pop song. Everybody has auto-tune, so the voices sound weird. And there are a ton of references in this scene as she's driving along. And I'm gonna list for you some of my favorite signs and references here. There's "Don't Tase Me, Froyo," which is, of course, a reference to "Don't tase me, bro.
Don't tase me."
My Chemical Spray Tan.
Nice. Wait, what's that a reference to?
In an umbrella shop called Umbrella Ella's.
Okay, that one's good too.
Yep. A guy holding a sign that says, home loans, no job, no credit, no problem.
Okay.
Referencing, the whole housing crisis that happened very shortly after that.
Yeah, really tragic. I have to, great movie about it. I have to go back to the umbrella joke really quick because that song was so fucking crazy, like popular, that the school, like at my school or the county or whatever, for our standardized state testing, had like a parody of Umbrella that they would play for the students that was like about getting prepped for the standardized testing.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was really bad.
That sounds awful.
But it is stuck with me for fucking however long it's been, since 2007 or 8 or whatever. So, yeah.
You'll have to play it for us. You'll have to find it.
I genuinely forgot about that song until you just did the Umbrella Ella, and then I was like, oh, right. God. Oh, no.
I have 2 more references here. There are more than this, so feel free to, when you're watching the show, go back and look at it. But there's Subway, but it's spelled with 2 A's, probably for so they don't get sued. But it says "Kids Eat Free" underneath it, which is just kind of a fucked up Jared joke. And then when they close up on her car, there's a poster she passes on like a record store that says "Fallout Koi." And it's a bunch of koi fish dressed as the members of Fall Out Boy, which I really enjoyed because I'm a big Fall Out Boy fan.
Yeah. As you should be.
So at that point, they cut to the Todd stuff, which we've already covered. But then they cut to a Starbucks where Mr. Peanut Butter is there with his second wife, Jessica Biel. She's one of the Jessicas, actually voiced by Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I was wondering about that the whole time. And then at the end, obviously, in the credits, it was like guest starring. So I was like, yo, Mr. Peanut Butter's wife, we're learning, who he was married to. And then he said second wife?
Yeah.
And I was like, there was a fucking another one?
It wasn't Katrina Peanut Butter. It was Jessica Biel. Yeah, it's his second wife.
How deep does the Mr. Peanut Butter lore go?
Oh, you're going to find out. There's going to be a lot of Mr. Peanut Butter lore. In this scene, Mr. Peanut Butter makes maybe my favorite Mr. Peanut Butter joke, where he says, Michael Vick made me a very strange offer, but I'll hear him out. Do you know what that's referencing, Sean?
I do not.
So, NFL quarterback Michael Vick, known for the way he would also be very fast and run with the ball as opposed to just throwing it, got in trouble for having an organized dogfighting ring.
Oh my God.
Okay. Went to prison. It was a big deal. In the middle of his football career. Okay.
Yeah.
So for Mr. Peanut Butter to go, Michael Vick made me a very strange offer, but I'm willing to hear him out, is just so fucking funny to me.
Yeah, that's really fucking good. For a second, I thought This isn't Mr. Peanut Butter bit. It's the next scene. But in my notes, the next bit I had is what I thought you were talking about, and I was like, that one, really?
No. The Michael Vick one. It's just a short reference, but it's really funny to me. And then they meet. They're getting coffee from Blarn, who is Diane with a funny name tag.
Yep.
And
funny.
quote unquote funny. And she doesn't know who Jessica Biel is until she says, hey, I'm the girl that took her clothes off for this magazine. And she's like, oh, yeah. So Jessica Biel famously upset that that's what people know her for. So it's good that she's, taking the piss out of it, so to speak. So then we cut to Marv, who's Bojack's agent, and it's who Miss Princess Carolyn works for. And I fucking love Marv. Okay? Because Marv is a prototypical, scummy old man, and we cut to him. They do this bit twice where he's referencing things from 2007 on the phone, and he's like, so she kissed a girl, huh? And she liked it. This I gotta see.
That's the bit I thought you were talking about.
No, that's a good bit.
I was like, really? Okay.
It's a good bit, but not my favorite. But man, he's funny. I love Marv. He constantly references throughout the episode, like, I saw this waitress and I wanted to buy her lingerie. Yeah. We didn't make eye contact. The way someone I know has like a uncle like this that's like in his 70s and he like, doesn't even function well, like wears a diaper. But then he'll hey, we should go to this restaurant to eat. And it's because he saw a waitress there and wants to, like, kiss her hand and shit. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, stop. Like, we were just, with my friend, we were just talking about this, and it was just like, this was so real to me in the moment. I was like, this fucking guy. But the point of the scene is that Princess Carolyn is trying to get Bojack a job because she sees something in Bojack that a lot of people don't, and he is just stuck in, I'm the horse from Horseman Around, I don't want to do anything. And he says, I don't remember the exact wording he says, but like the best agent in the world couldn't get this guy off his ass, basically. And so she's because she wants to be an agent. Mm-hmm. So she shows up at his house with four locos, which is 16 locos if you're keeping count.
She shows up poolside at a hotel in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, with the 4 locos.
With four locos.
Yeah, no, 16 locos for Bojack. And he goes, finally, someone brought me the appropriate amount of locos. And he wakes up there in the car, and for some reason, he's wearing a vest and a hat, which is very reminiscent of Jason Mraz.
And he asks, why do I look like Jason Mraz?
And she's like, they're arguing, and she's like, please just take this meeting with Cuddly Whiskers, which I skipped part of the scene. I just realized where she brings Marv scripts, and one is No Country for Old Men, and one is There Will Be Blood. Two very popular, well thought of movies, and he shreds them both because the names are too long. And then she brings him the script by Cuddly Whiskers called. It's some really long name, but she calls it Mitch's Life. And he goes, Mitch's Life. No, I can work with that. And that's when she brings up that Bojack should do it. So she's got him a meeting with Cuddly Whiskers. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And she goes, if you do this, we can do that weird French thing you saw in that video. And implying that's sexual. And he goes, parkour? Yeah. All right.
Not to bring it back to Assassin's Creed, but They really nailed the timing on that game, huh? Because parkour was pretty crazy at that time. Like
that and Mirror's Edge, right?
Yeah. But like
the parkour games.
It's just really lucky timing on that.
So we meet Cuddly Whiskers, who lives in a house that also has like hamster tubes because he is in fact a hamster.
Yes.
And he's voiced by Jeffrey Wright.
Dude, I was listening to his voice and I was like, where the fuck have I heard that voice before? And then as you said Jeffrey Wright, I went, he's fucking Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, Commissioner Gordon, Uatu, the Watcher, and What If. He's in...
If anybody pulled Uatu before Gordon, I'd punch them in the face.
He's Beatty in Hunger Games. He's a lot of different things. He does a lot of different movies. He's a very well-known actor.
He was in The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, he's in a lot of good things too. Anyway, he voices Cuddly Whiskers here, and he is a famous award-winning writer for film and television, and most known for writing Krill and Grace. And Bojack says, that show has done so much for Krill people. And the joke is that Will and Grace was like one of the first sitcoms to really feature gay people in a way that people liked. That wasn't like condescending or like
offensive. Yeah.
He convinces them to like, hey, you don't want to be just the horse from Horsing Around, and that's what Bojack aligns with. That's the thing, because he's been called the horse from Horsing Around. He's like, that would that'd be nice. So he agrees to read the script, and Cuddly Whiskers makes a lot of jokes about, not jokes, but references to the fact that he went to Harvard. And that he was involved at Harvard.
He still has his Harvard email.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Like, okay. I guess he got on Facebook real quick then, huh?
I don't know if you've ever met anybody that went to Harvard. No. This is kind of how they act. Like, this is pretty true to real life. We cut to Diane at the coffee shop again, and
Wayne.
Hey,
I'm sorry. I jumped ahead, and that's my fault. But we do meet Jill Pill.
Oh, that's right. Jill Pill, and they have a very awkward,
very strange relationship.
Yeah, and you can see how Jill has kind of changed from when we saw her in the current time to the past. But she drops a water bottle on the floor on purpose, and he's like, "You picked that up," and she goes, "I'm a dirty girl," like right in front of Bojack, and it's just very. And he goes, "We have a special relationship, but it's very awkward."
She's his assistant,
weird. Right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, very.
But
weird.
obviously, they're more than that.
Yeah.
So we cut to the coffee shop, and Diane is there with Wayne, who we've met, her ex-boyfriend, current boyfriend in this time, and Roxy, who is Diane's friend, and they're talking about she got rejected by the New York Post, which makes her very excited because they actually read her what she wrote as opposed to just sending just a blind or not sending anything at all, basically.
Yeah.
And at one point, Roxy goes, "Man, white people are the worst, right, guys?" And she's white, and Wayne just looks at her and goes, "Yeah," meaning like you are the worst. And I think that's so funny.
They make a lot of New York Post jokes.
Yeah, to the point where if you don't read the New York Post, it's kind of... So this show does that sometimes where like it gets in the weeds on one specific reference, and if you don't know the reference, you just kind of go, and then move on, right?
But I think it kind of works because they're supposed to be annoying in the scene.
Right. No, it works, but like this show does do that from time to time.
Yeah.
And that's why like me being as old as I am having to explain some of this stuff to you sometimes. You're just like, what?
I have to continue the tradition of just, asking you dumb questions that aren't important. But we do see a very important thing in this scene for like, you and I as gamers, and that her friend was playing a DS.
Yes.
So what do you think she was playing? It wasn't a 3DS. It might have been like a DSi. It had the like weird rectangle thing on the front.
I'd like to think it was some like cool like game,
Yeah.
But I actually think it's probably going to be Mario Kart.
Okay.
I
think it was a DS Lite is what they were parodying because that's kind of what it looks like. I was thinking.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me look at games that were released in 2007. Here are some games that were released in 2007.
Okay. Was Nintendogs out at that point?
Phantom Hourglass, Hotel Dusk, The World Ends With You.
Yeah. God,
Mario Party DS.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that to me?
Cooking Mama 2. It's probably Cooking Mama 2.
Oh.
Or Sonic Rush Adventure. I feel like she's a Sonic fan.
You don't think she's a Pokemon person? Because Pokemon Diamond and Pearl was out.
Man, I typed in DS games 2007, and it is not in the top, like,
Diamond and Pearl were the number 1 and number 2 highest selling games of 2007.
Google did not put it in the top 100 for me. But they put the Pirates of the Caribbean game.
Dude, it is crazy. Like, yeah, okay, yeah. I think it was a Pokemon game. I think it was either Diamond and Pearl, because those sold like crazy.
Mario Party DS, that's my final answer.
Okay, that's the number 10 best-selling game for DS.
That's my final answer. She was playing Mario Party by herself, by the way.
Or High School Musical Making the Cut, which sold more copies than Mario Party DS, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, you're right. That is crazy. What is wrong with people? So here we cut to the 7 Minutes in Heaven scene with Emily, which we already went over. But I will say Emily is voiced by Abby Jacobson, who's known for Broad City, if you're not familiar with Abby Jacobson. Writer and actor in Broad City.
I think what have I seen her on? I've seen her on something.
She's been in other things, but that's what she's like most well known for. She also developed the League of Their Own reboot. She's in Mitchell versus the Mitchells versus the Machines. She does a lot of voice acting.
Yeah.
Bob's Burgers. Portlandia, she's been on. I don't know what you've seen her from.
Nothing. She just looks she looks like somebody else, I guess.
We cut back to Marv's office because Bojack calls Marv to say he wants to do the Bojack, or it's not called the Bojack Horseman show at this point. It's called Mitch's Life.
Yeah, but before they go into the office, there's like an establishing shot, and they show this like one of those planes that like draws the message, like the smoke message in the sky, and it says "Watch John from Cincinnati," and I didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't know that reference either. Actually, now that you mentioned that, I don't know. Hold on, let me just type it into Google and see what comes up.
Oh, this is an actual thing. John from Cincinnati's a show, an American drama series set against the surfing community of Imperial Beach, California.
So, like, is this like a bit, or is this something that the creators of Bojack were like, "Hey, this show's awesome. People should watch it." That's what I want to know. I don't see anybody. Like, just a glance, I don't see anybody tied to it that's tied to Bojack. Maybe they had some ad campaign like this, and that's what they're referencing.
The pilot aired... Oh, okay, I get it. The pilot for the series was shown directly after the highly anticipated series finale of The Sopranos, but it failed to sustain an audience. So I think the joke is supposed to be like...
reference. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because that's coming
We figured it out, everybody.
Yay! Sometimes we gotta do that, you know?
So Princess Carolyn sitting at her desk outside the office, and Marv goes, "Hey, Princess Carolyn, guess who just got Bojack a job? You know him." Like, he just uses like the words to make it sound like he's gonna say her, but then it's him.
Yeah.
And then she, that's when he makes the reference of I saw this. I wanted to buy this waitress this thing. We did not make eye contact. So I think that's all that happens there. There's a scene later with her and Marv. But we cut to 2 months later, and it's time for the first reading of Mitch's life. And Bojack thanks Princess Carolyn for helping him with a box with tissue paper inside. Everything a cat would want. And she just cannot not play with this as he's talking to her.
Yeah.
The reading, we cut to the reading, and it goes well, and the producers actually have no notes for them, which Cuddly Whiskers is surprised by, because he's like, they're gonna come try to make it corporate middle America, blah blah blah. But one of the producers says, this show is going to be as big as Horsing Around. And that is not what Bojack wanted to hear, right?
Not at all. I love when they say that, like, appeals to middle America. It's like the worst part of America. Except for the other sides. And
we cut to Mr. Peanut Butter, who's at the coffee shop again. And Jessica Biel is talking about Justin Timberlake a lot.
And he's like, you're really in sync with this Justin guy.
And then he talks about his Blockbuster series that he's on.
His Blockbuster original series.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't get how that works. He goes, well, it's spread across 6 DVDs, and you rent one at a time, and then bring it back to watch the next one. And then she's like, well, what if one's rented? And he goes, well, then you just rent something like The Illusionist or The Prestige. I don't remember which one of those you're on. and he's like, do you? And she's like, oh, because she doesn't remember either. But at that point, Blarn isn't at the counter. They're like waiting for service, and she's calling her mother to tell her that her next writing is going to be in some like publication that no one's ever heard of. And it's just like kind of an establishing shot to see like, oh, this is how Diane's treated by her family kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Was that season 1 that we were introduced to them?
Yeah. All the way back? When her dad died. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, it's been a while since we've seen them.
Yep. And you see them from time to time throughout the show, but that was just kind of like catching you up with where Diane's at in life. We cut to a lot scene there on the lot, and Jerry Seinfeld is standing there dressed as a bee, because the Bee Movie, and he's talking to an actual bee, and he's like, buzz, 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 buzz. And it's so fucking stupid. That made me like giggle when I so I forgot about it, and it just made me giggle.
So when I was watching that just then, I was like, why does that guy sound like Jerry Seinfeld? And then you just saying like, because he's dressed from the Bee Movie. I went, oh, right. Yeah. Just now. I was like, okay.
You're like, what's this bit with Jerry Seinfeld being a bee? What the fuck?
Yeah. I was like, is that supposed to be Jerry Seinfeld? It sounds like it.
Buzz, 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 buzz.
Yeah.
Bojack's not happy with the script now after the guy said, hey, like, this is going to be his biggest horse around. And so he's like, and Princess Carolyn's there with Cuddly Whiskers, and he's like, we should, really, really fuck the system and, stuff like that. Yeah. And Princess Carolyn's arguing with him like, hey, they liked it. Let's just roll with it. And Bojack is not very nice to Princess Carolyn and says, hey, when we need you to get coffee, we'll let you know. You're just an assistant, da-da-da-da-da.
And I was like, how is it that he only gets worse from here?
Right. And then, like, what was funny to me, the whiplash of him saying that, she walks away and he just turns to Cuddly Whiskers, and Cuddly Whiskers is like, yeah, let's fucking do it. I was like, wait, you're an asshole too? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. My favorite bit of the episode is coming up, but yeah.
But during this, Spider-Man walks by the way, and he's actually a Spider-Man. He's like wearing the Spider-Man suit, but he has, I didn't even
notice it.
He has the 2 sets of arms and then the legs, so he has 8, So it's kind of like what's that Spider-Man character that's like an actual, like, he has like 8 arms or whatever?
Doc Ock?
No. He's like he looks like Spider-Man, but he's like,
I think it's, are you talking?
He's in that Venom Spider-Man game. What is he called?
Man Spider?
Is it Man Spider?
There is a Man Spider. There's also a clone of Spider-Man that...
I think that's what it is. I think it's the clone.
One of the clones in the Ultimate Comics looks weird.
Shit, I typed this in and it just showed me pictures of Peter Parker with 6 arms. That's not what I want.
I'm so scared to look up Spider-Man stuff right now.
Yeah. Well, so we're just going to drop it. But
for
this happens in the game. Peter Parker gets 6 arms after he kills the ghost of Doc Ock. It's like, no!
For context, when this comes out months from now, Mike and I are currently right now playing.
We're balls deep in Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2. So I'm so scared to look up anything Spider-Man right now.
Yeah. And I don't think that would have anything to do with the game, but you never know at this point.
It's like the post-credit scene. It's like...
So he's mean to her. They decide to work on the script, and then we cut to Marv. And this is his other bit. Wait, there's a panic at the disco? And
that was one of my favorite.
Princess Carolyn comes in, and she demands to be an agent. And... because she's mad that Bojack treated her that way. And he goes, you know what? Fine, you're an agent. And he goes on and on for way too long about how he regrets being a successful agent his whole life, and he never got to...
All he has is regrets.
All he has is regrets, and it's like kind of painting the picture for Princess Carolyn, like, you shouldn't want to do this. And it's kind of where she's at in her life now. But
when he walks off, she just goes... I did it.
I'm an agent. Yeah, just falling on completely deaf ears. I never got to get that. Well, I don't remember what he says, but for that mean lady at the DMV.
I think it's something edible. It's an edible something. For
yeah,
the mean lady
it's something inappropriate for that mean lady at the DMV. All I have are regrets. So he also just packed in his suitcase when he's leaving. He packs his phone and his ashtray with a lit cigar on it and closes it up and walks out.
I gotta say, mean lady at the DMV really does not narrow it down.
No, that's literally every lady at the DMV. Yeah. But that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah.
So then we have this montage of Cuddly Whiskers and Bojack working on the script, and they're just saying some of the worst ideas.
Yeah. What if he said, "What's up, bitches?" every time he walked in the room?
What if the very first scene we show my character literally taking a massive dump on a VHS copy of Horseman Around? And Cody was just like, what? That's insane. Let's put it in. We can always take it out later. They clearly don't.
Yeah.
And they say, what if he had an anti-catchphrase? Yeah, like every time he enters the room, he was like, what's up, bitches? And they're both like, yeah, but not that because that's horrible, but something like that. So they're just like putting all this stuff together. They have this all-nighter. At the end, he goes, we stayed up all night. We made something new and different and daring. We've changed everything but the title. And Cuddly Whiskers goes, well, why don't we call it The Bojack Horseman Show? Which this is a reference to the Ben Stiller Show.
Is it?
Yes, this is a reference to the Ben Stiller Show, which famously people talk about it now, like everything, right? They go, it's better than you remember, blah blah. But like at the time, this was a huge bomb for Ben Stiller.
Okay.
And kind of hurt his career for a few years, definitely. It was in the mid to late 90s, I want to say, and then he didn't really catch back on again until the 2000s when he started doing stuff like Zoolander and Dodgeball and that kind of stuff. So, and of course, Night at the Museum. Yeah.
I mean, what we all know him for.
Yeah. So they redo the script. We move on to 2 months later, again, another time skip. And Mr. Peanut Butter is hosting a John Edwards for President fundraiser. And he goes, I just talked to a woman that said John Edwards touched her, so let's make this guy president so he can touch whoever he wants. I completely forgot about that joke.
I like that it's the Another 2 Months Later Foundation.
Yeah.
Like, and okay, one of my favorite jokes in the entire show, because he turns aside, he goes, Erica, you're not allowed to vote in national elections.
Classic Erica moment.
Classic Erica, dude.
It also shows Diane and Roxy and Wayne working as caterers for this event.
Yep.
And they're kind of goofing on Mr. Peanut Butter, but you can tell Diane's kind of like, I'm not gonna goof on this guy, and we find out why later. It does cut to the Sopranos scene at this point, which we've already covered. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Bojack's premiere party at his house, and he's eating cotton candy. And this is they reference this early on in the first episode, how he got really sick from eating cotton candy at a party.
And
wow,
threw it up.
And then he does it again in the first episode. So they're kind of referencing that. I don't think they don't show him in this episode throwing it up.
Yeah.
But important to note, character actress Margot Martindale is in the crowd.
I didn't see her. Oh, shit.
At the Bojack Horseman show premiere. Always a friend of Bojack. She doesn't speak or anything, but she's there. Also, Jorge Garcia, who played Hurley on Lost, is there. And Bojack goes, so the island's purgatory, right? We don't get an answer from him, I don't think. But
we can't talk about Lost. It's dangerous. We'll end up doing a podcast.
That's the thing. If we're already close to doing like an Assassin's Creed podcast, we cannot talk about Lost. Because that's something I actually think is interesting.
Exactly.
Right.
And I love that show. So we can't do that.
We cannot. My brain started going, what's a good title for that? And I'm like, no.
Do you
Princess
think
Carolyn, Princess Carolyn's there.
Having the numbers would be too much, right? Just doing the numbers for the podcast title.
Yeah, that's stupid. You can't do that. Okay. Princess Carolyn's there, and it's the first time they've spoken since he was really mean to her, and she's still his agent. And he goes, "Hey, I meant to call, but things are busy." She goes, "No, it's okay. I'm very excited for you. This is great." And he goes in for a kiss, and she goes, "Bojack, no, this is not what I want. I want to be married by 40. I'm 33 right now, and I can't just spend the next 7 years in an on and off again relationship with you," which we know, unfortunately, is what happens.
Is what's gonna happen.
But she stands her ground here, and she goes, "By the way, I kind of liked the horse from Horseman Around," because he made a comment that he's no longer going to be the horse from Horseman Around. He'll be Bojack Horseman. And again, not what Bojack wanted to hear, so he goes to Cuddly Whiskers. He's like, "No, we got to stop this. We got to cancel this. We can't do this. I can't shit on a VHS of Horseman Around. People love Horseman Around." And he's like, "Hey, man, like, this is going to change your life forever." And he gives him a pretty good speech, which unfortunately isn't what actually happens. No. like it does change his life forever, but it's like not in the way that he's saying for the better. They end up watching the premiere. Before they end up watching the premiere, actually, I skipped a scene. I apologize. He doesn't panic till the next scene. We cut back to Mr. Peanut Butter, who is in his dressing room for the John Edwards event, and Jessica Biel shows up, and they're fighting, and she says something that she's about to be in what she thinks is a very important gay rights movie. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Which is fucking hilarious because that movie's awful and just not a good representation of gay people.
No.
Just not at all. But then they start arguing more, and she says, Justin said, or why don't you act like Justin and cry me a river? And he goes, you talk about Justin a lot, so I think you guys should just continue to stay really good friends. Like, not saying, why don't you go marry him? And she goes, I will marry Justin. And he's like, wait, that's not what I said. And she goes, now we're divorced, deal with it.
I wonder if this was intentional, but I looked up I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, like, to remind myself, and Lance Bass is in it at the very end. So I wonder if the NSYNC jokes are, like, intentional to be connected to
no, that. I don't think so, because, I mean, it's just that she married Justin Timberlake. Like, that's...
Yeah, but I wonder if they all... I don't know. I think there might be a connection there.
Well, and of course, if you're right, that means it's connected to Kingdom Hearts, because Lance Bass was the voice actor for Sephiroth from Kingdom Hearts 1.
That's true.
Nomura had a plan the whole time.
Nomura did have a plan the whole time.
So Diane comes into his dressing room to bring him a drink or something, and they're talking and they hit it off, and he goes to change his shirt, and oh no, Mr. Peanut Butter's hot.
Dude, he's kind of jacked.
He's kind of ripped. And she goes, hey there, Delilah. Which is such a stupid 2007 reference. But you can start to see the seeds of their romance being planted here. And she, like, she tells him, like, hey, like, I don't think a lot of people of your status would do this kind of thing, because they'd get, there'd be fear that they'd get made fun of and da-da-da. And,
yeah.
And so you can see because I think for a lot of people without this, you'd go, why did she even get with Mr. Peanut Butter? Like, he just doesn't align with, like, her ideals necessarily. And it's, like, very strange, but they try to paint a picture of, like, how that would have happened. Right.
Yeah.
And she appreciates, like, his free spirit and how he, like, doesn't care what people think of him,
Yeah.
And then also he's jacked.
Well, I love after he gives that speech about how you shouldn't care what people think about you. She's like, oh, that's really, like, good or whatever. And he goes, oh, thank God you said that. Because while I was saying it, I was feeling like da-da-da-da-da-da. And he goes on this big thing and he goes, ooh, validation. And he tells her to add him on MySpace.
Yeah, and that's... I feel like that was late for MySpace even.
I mean, was Facebook...
I think Facebook had kicked off by that. Maybe it was still in the you have to have a college email to be Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know. 2006, Facebook started to allow everybody.
Oh, so yeah, no, MySpace was over at that point then. It existed, but it was like that was not what you did. Mm-hmm, maybe for someone of his age, right? Because like you're always a few years behind the older you get,
Yeah, yeah. Maybe that's also part of the joke. Add me on MySpace.
Yeah, maybe. And then we cut back to Bojack panicking, and he's like, "Your life is going to change," and that's when the episode ends, when they start to watch the premiere, and
back in 07.
Yeah, Group Love, the band's responsible for the ending song, did a different version of back in the 90s, but. It's back in 07. I was not in a not successful TV show. I'm Bojack the Horseman. Goddamn, what the hell was I thinking, bro? When you're an artist, yeah, it's hard to play it safe. That show stumbled hard right out of the starting gate. Wonder if I'm ever going to get another chance. Maybe a listicle at best. Yeah, I'm not a horse. I'm an ass. Bojack. Those are the lyrics for everybody. So that's the end of the episode. Sean, it's a pretty good episode. I think
I liked it.
I disagree with Edvis that it wasn't funny. I think this episode was. I remember like watching this just now and going, "Wow, this was like a funnier episode than I remember." Maybe I'm just like 2007 pilled right now or something. But like, I thought it was really good. I thought it was pretty funny. I laughed a few times, which again, I'm not a big like out loud laugher, but like this episode got me a couple times. So what did you think?
I liked it. I felt like. I thought it was funny. I thought that things were going to go worse. So I was a little surprised about that. And I'm wondering if we're not done with the flashback episodes.
There is definitely, from what I remember, there is at least one other flashback episode, but I don't think it's even this season.
Okay.
Actually, there's a couple that I can remember now, but they're all done in the similar fashion where they just kind of nail the time period and do a lot of really, really good jokes about that time period.
I guess I had really been wondering what like the Bojack Horseman show was, and I feel like I think I had built it up in my head a little bit more for it to be a bigger deal, and it wasn't a super huge deal at the end of it. Like,
you're gonna get more context on it and how it was like a big bomb,
Yeah.
But it's not the thing. They bring it up just. It's hard for me to talk about without talking about more what happens later in the season. So I think I'm just gonna.
I figure on episode 2 we're not done with context and stuff. So.
Yeah. I will tell you the next episode doesn't really dive into it a ton.
I didn't expect it. I mean, look, we got 12 episodes this season or whatever normally. I think I liked the first episode more, but I still enjoyed this one.
Yeah, this one's definitely a setup episode. So what? Let's do the categories.
All right, what's your favorite animal-based joke?
I do like when the lizard woman gets her purse robbed and they take her arm and then she just grows her arm right back. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, unfortunate for her, but at least she didn't lose her whole arm, I did like that one. I also like Cuddly Whiskers as they're like doing the montage. He leans over and drinks out of a little drinking thing for a hamster.
Yeah.
I did like that too. So those are probably my two favorite.
Man, I don't know that there was one that like super. Oh yeah, I did like when Mr. Peanut Butter tried to buy the CD, and Jessica Biel was like down.
Yeah. We didn't reference that one, but yeah, she treats him like a dog. Drop it.
I think my favorite is the Jerry Seinfeld bee joke.
Yep, that's a good one. Agreed.
What's your favorite bit overall?
As much as I like, I'm just not a Sopranos guy.
Yeah.
I do think that's a really funny bit. Because that like, I've never watched Sopranos. Full disclosure. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was such a big deal at the time. When that happened, like when that's how the show ended, that like I knew all about it, right? And I was like a teenager, so I wasn't into watching prestige TV or whatever, So I think them referencing that bit, because it was that big in like 2007, to be honest, or 2008 or whenever it was that came out. Like the only other thing I can think of like that is like when Game of Thrones just shit the bed, where I know very little about that show, but all people were talking about was how Game of Thrones shit the bed. So
and even Game of Thrones shit the bed over the course of like a 6-episode season. Like that whole last season was bad.
Yeah. So I'd say that's a pretty It's a pretty good Todd bit, so I'll take that one.
I'm also saying the Sopranos bit because, like, I was really unsure of the Todd storyline for the episode until the ending, which for me, I was like, that's fucking great.
They're tricking you a little bit because, like I said, there's more to that.
Yeah.
There's more to that.
No, I believe you.
So I'm excited that you...
to find out.
I'm excited to see what you think of that part of it. We'll get to it, but I'm excited. What's your favorite quote, Sean?
Erica, you aren't allowed to vote in national elections.
Oh, Erica.
What did Erica do? Is what I want to know.
Yeah, Erica's done a lot. Erica, you're not supposed to be around children. They've said some things with Erica where she doesn't seem like a very put together person.
I want to know what's going on.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever find out the truth about Erica.
It might be better that way.
Yeah, it might be. My favorite quote is, we didn't reference it, but when they decide to work on the script, Bojack says, "Cuddly Whiskers, let's give ourselves one night to stick our dicks in this script and go balls deep into the universe."
Yeah.
I was like, hell yeah. I like that one.
That's really good.
That's funny. All right, so that was the Bojack Horseman show. Next episode is called Bojack Kills.
Exciting. Good.
Bojack is framed for a murder. Meanwhile, Todd and Mr. Peanut Butter are sprayed by a skunk. It's got a 7.4 on IMDb. And I will tell you, this is kind of a come down episode. This is kind of a wacky, similar to Chickens from last season.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a ton to do with like the overarching story, but it does give some like it puts some context to some things for you. But it's not not my favorite episode. Let's just say that.
Okay.
But then
I like the premise.
Yeah, the premise is funny. You'll see. I don't think it's a bad episode by any stretch, but it's not a classic BoJack episode. But Sean, episode 4, Fish Out of Water.
Okay.
It has a 9.6 on IMDb.
Holy shit!
And is considered one of the best BoJack Horseman episodes, and I'm very excited to get to that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going into some cool stuff here. I that might be the highest rated episode. I'm kind of looking right now, actually.
That's I was about to say I think that's higher than anything we've had so far.
Okay, so episode 11 of season 3 is also a 9.6, and that's deserved. Okay, that's a 9.3. That makes sense. I'm in season 4 right now, just scrolling. 9.2. Yep, that one makes sense. Ooh, that's only an 8.9. I would have thought that would have been in the 9s. Oh. Season 4, episode 11 is a 9.8. That's like as high as you see on IMDb, man. That's crazy.
Oh, no. I'm scared of that one.
You should be. That one's scary. That one's scary. And then, this one, episode 6 of season 5 is a 9.8 as well. And that one makes sense. A 9.6 on episode 11 of season 5. The episode 11s are always like the best episodes, right? Yeah, no, that makes sense. So it's close to one of the best episodes, in the top 5 for sure. The one in season 3 that we're talking about, but so yeah, that's pretty exciting, man. We're getting into some of the best BoJack, I think. After like literally this BoJack Kills episode is like the last episode where I'm like, this is okay. And they're all varying quality. Like, some are really good, some are good. But this is the only one that I remember being like, this is okay for the rest of the whole run of the show.
Okay.
So, and I might be wrong. I'm sure there'll be one that pops up. I go, oh, yeah, this one. But I
yeah.
I'm like searching my brain, and I can't find one that feels that way. I mean, I think when I was just scrolling through, I think most of the episodes are an 8.0 or above.
I'm excited.
Yeah, dude. Anyway, Sean, where can people find you?
On Twitter, @Sean_AFK.
And you can find me on Twitter @SpikeGhetti Bros, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Super SpikeGhetti Bros, and also on YouTube as well. Thank you to everybody for listening and watching. I'm sure there's other things that are going on right now that I should be talking about as far as content, but this is gonna be like we're recording this in 2023. This is definitely posting in 2024. So
yeah.
We'll see where we're at. But thank you guys again, and we will see you next time.
Suck a dick, dumb shits.
Dude, you're getting so good at that.
Dude, thank you.